we're going to go over the steps to draw a detailed square thread. Okay, so I've given you this handout sheet in class. This is the cheat sheet, and it's going to go through the steps on how to construct this thread. This one is a little more detailed than the Sharp V or the Acme, so there's a few more steps involved, but if you follow the steps on the cheat sheet, you should do fine. So we've got a 2 1/4 2 square thread. The 2 1/4 is your major diameter, and the 2 square, so 2, that's your threads per inch. So we've got to get the major diameter laid out. So half of 2 1/4 is going to be 1 1/8. So we're going to offset up and down 1 1/8 to get that thread laid out. So let's trim some things out. And we're going to change some layers. And we're going to make everything the object layer. Okay, so this is the part that I'm going to thread. 2 1/4 major diameter, and I think the thread's like 3 inches long. So look at our steps down here. So we're going to lay out half P. Okay, so we need to lay out half P across this thread. So the pitch is 1/2, right? Because it's 1 over the threads per inch. So we need half of the pitch. So that would be 1/4. So we're going to offset 1/4 all the way across. So you're just going to take that line, just offset everything all the way across. Now, if you look at our little cheat sheet down here, it tells us we have to offset up and down half P. So we're going to offset 1/4 up and 1/4 down. Now, in order to get everything lined up, we can do a couple of things. I like to go ahead and trim out this inside piece and get it out of the way. I'm going to need these little vertical pieces in order to make this detail of the thread, so I'm going to leave those. So at this point, let's just trim out the inside of our offset. Okay? So now this is what we have. We have our pitch laid out, and we have the half pitch up and down. Now let's connect to get our thread. So this is a right-handed thread. So rule of thumb, we're going to connect from the bottom right up to the top left. So notice it's angled. So you're going to do that all the way across. So just take those lines. You can either draw them in. I'm using my copy command, and I'm just copying them all the way across. Now, you have to think about how this thread is winding around the shaft. So we have to show how these threads are moving around that shaft. So now you make the decision of what is a thread. So we're going to trim out across the top every other one. Leave that line, we'll need it in a minute. Look at that, okay? So now this is a thread. So corresponding down at the bottom, I'm going to trim out every other one that is not the thread. All right, so now you see it looks like this. So anything inside this thread, let's get rid of. So what I mean, anything inside this thread, I want to get rid of. See? Just like that. So that makes one complete thread. So if it's inside my thread, let's get rid of it. Just like that. See? So you're going to do that all the way across. So anything that is involving the thread, if it is inside, get rid of it, because you're not going to have anything that has to be constructed from thread to thread. So see how nice that looks across the top. So do the same thing at the bottom. Anything in the thread, get rid of it. It's got to go. And I apologize for the little bit of lag in my computer while I'm recording. Okay, so now this is what we have. So the next step that we can do from this vertical line to the center line, see how that looks? Vertical line to the center line, vertical, center, see? And you can copy that all the way across. So you can copy this all the way across. And you can copy it across the bottom. Look at that, looks nice. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. You have to know which points to line up to, because we have to show this thread coiling around the shaft. So we're going to go to our line command, and we're going to make this thread as if it is moving around the shaft. So what you have to do, you're going to pick the bottom of the thread. This is the crest of the bottom of the thread, and you're going to pull it to the crest of the next thread. See how I'm connecting? See what that looks like? We've got to do the next corresponding crest to the top like that. See how that looks? So what happens, anything inside the thread, right? It's got to go away. So that gets rid of that line, but it gives us our angle on the bottom of the thread here. Anything inside the thread's got to go away. Look at that. Now it's just a matter of trim, trim. Look how nice that looks. Trim, trim. Look at that. So that gives the impression of this going around the shaft of the thread. So now you can just take this and copy, since you now have the proper angle, this all the way across. You can copy it down at the bottom as well. Look at that. Get your corresponding points. Don't forget to do your little end pieces. And then trim it out. Look at that. And you're going to do the same thing down at the bottom. This little line's going to go. And now you have a square thread. So if you follow your cheat sheet and just keep your points lined up so it looks like it is revolving around that shaft, you've got a really cool looking square thread.